Prime Minister urges greater police-citizen cooperation to arrest crime. Economy, crime and climate change top Jamaica's agenda at United Nations General Assembly. And government commits to sustainable building. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Carrie-Ann Smith.
The real victory will come when the citizens and the police cooperate, work together and provide information. Somebody knows, just not the police. And we have to correct that.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness speaking following Sunday's tour of areas in Montego Bay affected by unusually high levels of crime. As he sought to reassure the people of the second city, Mr. Holness outlined a number of initiatives government would be undertaking. Among them, the establishment of a Coast Guard post in Montego Bay to stem the flow of guns into the city, reinforcing the numbers on the ground with the National Reserve and more police. The construction of a barracks for the Army in Western Jamaica and increasing the number of vehicles available to the police are also part of the Prime Minister's plans. Earlier in the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness was in New York to deliver Jamaica's policy paper on the Sustainable Development Goals at the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly. During his presentation, he underscored the importance of the international banking community reconsidering its withdrawal of correspondent banking services to the region.
Trade represents 70% of the Jamaican economy, and as such, de-risking measures threatens our integration and economic viability. Therefore, we encourage our international partners to take the approach of establishing principles that ensure inclusive development strategies based on a country's ability to engage in vibrant, dynamic international trade.
Prime Minister Holness used his assignment to the United States to speak on a number of issues pertinent to Jamaica's development. Sustainable tourism was the main talking point at the Clinton Global Initiative on Tuesday.
Even though the tourism sector continues to grow, it pulls in people from all over seeking employment, seeking their share of the prosperity. But they end up living in substandard circumstances, which end up being a threat to the environment, the very environment on which they will depend for tourists to come. And so I think that is the next frontier for the government to tackle. How do we provide decent housing, access to education, safety and security, healthcare and good transportation for those persons who are presently living in substandard conditions.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Holness called for a change in the island's middle income status, which locks it off from accessing developmental aid.
Jamaica is not only calling on the international financial institutions to review their policy on graduating middle-income countries from development financing using GDP as the sole criteria. We're also proposing a carve-out within the middle-income category, similar to HIPIC, for small, highly indebted middle-income countries, where the inclusion of other indicators are used in determining economic well-being.
We are committed to the protection of the rights of the most vulnerable among us and to ensuring the welfare of all domestic workers within the framework of our determination to promote decent work for all.
Mr. Holness reiterating Jamaica's commitment to women empowerment after announcing the country's ratification of the ILO's domestic worker policy. And at a town hall meeting Thursday, the Prime Minister called on the gathering to sign a petition seeking a pardon for national hero Marcus Garvey. Garvey was convicted of mail fraud in 1923 by the U.S. government.
I urge you to do it because Marcus Garvey is our national hero. But in the United States, he is not so recognized. And there is a charge against him, which we believe he should be exonerated from that. That should be struck from the record.
And before he left New York on Saturday, Mr. Holness held bilateral talks with the leaders of Panama, Costa Rica, and St. Lucia. Back in Jamaica, Dr. Horace Chang was acting Prime Minister. On Wednesday, Dr. Chang met with the chairman of the China Development Bank, CDB. Later that morning, he oversaw the signing of contract involving the government, the CDB, and the operators of Alpart, Geoquan Iron and Steel Company. Before that, Minister Chang told a gathering to mark Engineers Week that government was taking steps to bolster sustainable development on the island.
The draft National Housing Policy and Implementation Plan will seek to ensure that housing developments are in harmony with the natural environment. We'll seek to mitigate the development of settlements in areas prone to natural hazards, and in some cases remove them where they exist already. Support and promote initiatives that support green building, establish systems to allow for proper waste and sewage disposal.
On Thursday, Minister Chang underscored the importance of workforce development training.
Companies sometimes forget to invest in their employees, and so today I want to commend Campari for the steps you have taken in the development of your human capital.
And that's how we close out today's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. We return next time with more of the stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.